No, we're taking still shots.
We're
doing to do the fake runway.
And we are on the floor of San Diego Comic-Con 2017 at the IDW booth, talking with people behind some of our very favorite comics. Can you please introduce yourselves for our watchers?
I'm David Rodriguez. I'm one of the writers on First Strike.
I'm Mairghread Scott. I write Transformers to All Are One, and I'm also co-writing First Strike.
So we recently found out next week we have the final issue of Till All Are One, and after that we have the annual. You had mentioned when you had announced the ending of the comic that you were okay with it because this was the story that you had wanted to tell and you had a chance to wrap it up. Can you sort of elaborate on that for just 1 second?
Yeah, well, I'd always planned, because we knew the event was coming, that this was going to be a nice ending for the arc. It's definitely going to be a really satisfying ending, and then we had the annual now to sort of wrap up some loose plot elements, essentially. But I'm also really excited because this is the closest I've ever gotten to a happy ending. So we'll see how happy other people think it is. But I was like, oh, yay, I did it. So I wanted to leave all our characters in a good place after all sort of the heartbreak I've caused everyone.
We appreciate that.
I was actually curious about Starscream. You know, Starscream as leader of Cybertron is light years away from the Starscream that was always trying to overthrow Megatron. How much of that arc did you have planned out ahead of time, and how much just kind of developed as the story went on?
Well, I always knew that I wanted Starscream to be one of those guys where he's essentially doing the right thing for the wrong reasons, and the idea that I felt there was a nice tension that Starscream actually in a lot of ways is a good leader for Cybertron, even though he's a terrible person. But especially once we got closer and I developed him more and I started using Bumblebee more, the idea of actually building Starscream into him trying to redeem himself, or him seeing that could even be possible, just became really interesting. It kind of sucked me in. So, no, he's come a long way. Kicking and screaming, but he's come a long way.
So one of the questions we were going to have is, what are you working on after Till All Are One? And the answer is First Strike. So can you tell us a little bit about First Strike?
I can. So First Strike is the Hasbro event. It's the second one, because the first one was Revolution, where they laid all the groundwork. It's the first time they brought all the Hasbro properties together in a big explosive event. And so First Strike is sort of the natural outcome of that 1 year after that, where it's kind of set off by Optimus involuntarily annexing Earth into the Council of Worlds. And some people on Earth are like, oh, great, we're saved. And other people are like, oh, you jerk. Nobody wants to be part of your Transformer war where everybody gets trampled. And so a group of humans led by Joel Colton have decided that they're going to go to Cybertron and wipe out all the Transformers. And they have a really good plan to do it. And Scarlet finds out. And so she leads a team of G.I. Joes to stop them, because Joel Colton is a very important person to her. That's the guy who trained her. He's kind of a father figure, and it's really, the whole story pivots on their relationship and the tension between that, where somebody that you've looked up to is kind of gotten older and is making different choices that maybe you don't agree with. Maybe that's something you can map to current society. I don't know. That's up to you. But yeah, it's just her trying to save him or figure out why he would do something like this, commit mass genocide.
We're co-writing the main line. I know they've planned a series of sort of two-part tie-ins for various other lines, but we're doing the main event storyline.
That wraps us up. Thank you very much for talking with us today. We really appreciate it.
It's great.
Thank you.